And also ahead on this Wednesday, we're live in the Bloomsburg area checking out something called the art of floating, how it all works, and how it can reduce stress and much more coming up.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Still to come, our Health Watch 16 report and a look at how flotation therapy could help you.
Here's Ryan.
Hey, good morning, Mindy and Tom. Coming up on the other side of this break, you're going to meet this colorful crew, and we're going to tell you about floatation therapy, how it works. We are crawling into the tank and explaining the benefits next.
It might be just what the doctor ordered to ease your arthritis, or maybe lower blood pressure.
Newswatch 16's Ryan Leckey is live just outside of Bloomsburg with a look at an interesting therapy. Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, good morning, Mindy and Tom, and I'm not alone this morning hanging out with this fun bunch at the Art of Floating, looking all colorful in your shirts this morning. We're talking about flotation therapy. This is what it looks like. The tank's filled with more than 800 pounds of Epsom salt, which really allows anybody to float. But of course, some people turn to this for various reasons, any way to relieve sore muscles. And for this gal, Monica Ray from Elizabethville, you actually started coming here to get rid of migraines. When did they start and what has changed?
Oh, I've had migraines since I was 15 years old. I came here about in February, have not taken medication since I started floating, Ryan. This has just been amazing for me, have not had a migraine. I may be taking aspirin if I'm lucky, maybe once a week. A lot of it's just stress related, so when you're in the tank, all the senses are relaxed, your body's relaxed, and of course, all the outside stimulation's not overworking your brain.
And when we take a look at some of these tanks, do you ever get claustrophobic in there climbing into these things for the first time?
Never. I don't, and I'm a claustrophobic individual. I don't have any problem getting in there. I just clear my mind. I get in, I put my hands behind my head, and I float.
And you just relax. And for people, the flotation therapy works for different folks in different ways. You just really got to try to see what's right for you. There's some research out there that says it can help reduce stress and alleviate some of the pain associated with fibromyalgia, but really you just got to give it a go to see if it works for you, like some therapies do and some don't. So you just got to try it. It's about $50 an hour for flotation therapy at this place in the Bloomsburg area. You can learn more at WNEP.com. Just click on websites mentioned. We have much more coming up here on Newswatch 16 this morning, including how some mixed martial artists are turning to this to help them with their sport. All of that still to come. Much more of Newswatch 16 after the break. And also ahead on this Wednesday, can you really float your way to relaxation? We are checking out flotation therapy and talking about these tanks, how it all works, coming up live on Newswatch 16 this morning.
Coming up, a story that could have you floating.
Here's Ryan.
Hey, good morning, guys. Right on the other side of this break, we're hanging out with this crew from the Art of Floating. And we're going to explain how doing this could help some folks in our area reduce stress, migraines, and so much more. All next.
A type of therapy is starting to make a real splash in our area.
Newswatch 16's Ryan Leckey live near Bloomsburg to tell us about the art of floating. Good morning.
Hey, you said it. Good morning, Mindy and Tom, hanging out with this colorful crew at the Art of Floating outside the Bloomsburg area. And with us is Jenny. So when we think of flotation therapy, we're going to be taking a closer look at it. How does it work, and what's the water temperature?
The water temperature is 93 to 95, the temperature of your skin.
All right, so we have Angie in this tank over here. And for people who use the tanks, they come for different reasons. To reduce stress. For Angie, she told us she comes to help fibromyalgia. And we have Brent in another tank. But we wanted to find out, when people look at this, how do you make sure the water's clean, that you're not essentially hopping into somebody else's bathtub? That's a big question I think people would have.
The water is constantly filtered. It's filtered with a UV light, and
that's what keeps it clean. Okay, well said. And when you check this out, Epsom salt is used in these tanks, more than 800 pounds of it, and that's what creates the whole flotation thing, the buoyancy, that people can really just get in there no matter what you weigh or your height, and everyone kind of just hangs out in the water. How much water is usually in a tank?
There's 10 inches of water.
Okay. She's short, sweet to the point. We got to love that. And hanging out also with Eric, because a lot of mixed martial artists, raise your hands. You guys started getting your float on. Why?
Well, there's a lot of bumps and bruises that come along with the training, and it just seems to alleviate all of that once I get into the tank.
And describe what it's like when you're in there.
It's just you're all by yourself, you're floating. It's also really great for the mental aspect. You know, you can just kind of go over the things that you learned and just think about the things you have coming up.
And I think the interesting note, a lot of people who come here, they say they get to unwind, get away from technology. So for about an hour of floating, it's around $50. And you can learn more about Art of Floating at our website, WNEP.com. We have a link under websites mentioned. Thanks so much to you. And still ahead here on Newswatch 16 this morning, where's the youngest floater? Sarah, there she is. We're going to be chatting with her while she comes to get her float on to help with her sport. So high five. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. We're ahead here on Newswatch 16 this morning. And Jenny from the block, Thank you for that interview. I keep calling her Jenny from the block many times. She's like, all right, I'll take it.
She doesn't have much choice.
Thanks, Ryan. See you
And
later.
also ahead on this Wednesday, here is a story that might just float your boat. We're going to tackle floatation therapy, how it works and where you can find it, coming up on Newswatch 16.
Still to come, our Health Watch 16 report and looking at floatation therapy.
He's not a booger, but he's Ryan.
Hey, good morning, guys. We're talking about the art of floating. We're going to explain how it works. Just don't take a nap like this, guys. Stay with us. The story's coming up.
It might be what the doctor ordered to release or to ease your arthritis and lower blood pressure.
Newswatch 16's Ryan Leckey floating around in the Bloomsburg area today. Good morning.
Hey, you said it. Good morning, Mindy and Tom. We are talking about the art of floating. Really, it's floatation therapy. Take a look. This is what it's all about. More than 800 pounds of Epsom salt used inside these tanks. This is the location just outside of Bloomsburg along Old Berwick Road. And the cool thing about the whole floatation therapy, oh yeah, it involves some of these folks, the colorful crew here at Art of Floating. But a lot of people are turning to it to help everything from reducing migraines to even folks like Angie in here. She comes to use this to help with her fibromyalgia. And even youngsters, I'm amazed by this. Sarah, you're 10 years old. Why do you come here?
I come before my competitions to relax and visualize what I'm doing.
And what types of things do you compete in?
Equestrian vaulting.
So you would come here and tell me, what do you think about when you're in there? You're thinking about your competitions. Is it weird floating?
No.
And it's not scary being in the dark?
No.
All right, and you can see a variety of folks come and utilize these tanks. And the cool thing about it, some questions we got on Twitter, people are like, how do they keep it clean? Well, it's a constant filtration system to kind of use a UV light to kill the bacteria or anything in that 800 pounds plus of Epsom salt. And folks like Amy, you told me initially when you heard about this place, you're like, I can't do it. I'm claustrophobic. No way. What happened?
Very skeptical at first. I kept putting them off when they urged me to try it, and I thought, I'd give in. I'm going to do it. Very claustrophobic. I was in there for 2 hours the very first time I tried it, and it felt like I slept an entire night. It was amazing.
Yeah, the amazing thing, according to some research out there, 1 hour sleeping in a flotation tank can be equivalent to 4 hours of sleep. That's what I'm talking about, maximizing your time. And it costs about $50 for an hour to get your float on. You can learn more about this place in the Bloomsburg area at WNEP.com. Just click on websites mentioned. Still to come. I think I need to suit up and try it.
I think so.
Don't worry, it's a full-piece suit. It's a family show. More of Newswatch 16 this morning, right after this.
Coming up with a story that could have you floating.
Let's check in with Ryan.
Hey, good morning, guys. Coming up on the other side of this break, can you really float your way to relaxation? You're going to meet this crew, and we're talking about flotation therapy. All next, live on Newswatch 16.
A type of therapy is starting to make a real splash in our area.
Newswatch 16's Ryan Leckey is live near Bloomsburg this morning to tell us all about it. And yes, no square cut today. What's going on?
Tom, this is a family show, and I don't want the bosses being like, hey, where are all your clothes on this show today?
Bathing suit.
You know it. And let me tell you, if you hear any squealing, it's the seams on this Under Armour shirt about to blow off. Hanging out here with the gang at Art of Floating in the Bloomsburg area. So this is what we're talking about, these really cool tanks that some people are turning to for a variety of health benefits. With us, Vanessa and Jenny. First off, Vanessa, how big are these tanks?
Well, they're 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 4 feet tall.
And we have some other folks floating with us this morning. When people hear, I can really get health benefits by floating in more than 800 pounds of Epsom salt, what are the folks telling you they're coming here for?
Well, we get a lot of feedback that it helps for migraine, chronic muscle pain.
All sorts of stuff. And Jenny, people might be looking at this and thinking, all right, if you're putting one person after the next inside these tanks, how do you make sure they're clean?
It's constantly filtered. The water is constantly filtered with a UV light.
And you guys do a lot of stuff, too, in the area to help out some charities. So people are coming here as a new way to raise funds for their charities?
Correct.
I love that. So take a look inside here. This is what they look like. And then when you get in here after you shower off, we do want to stress you're normally in the buff. When you're inside a float tank, no clothes, you kind of hang out in there, and it ranges time-wise from what? How long can you get your soak on, your float on?
It really depends on the person. Usually it's an hour, but it can be more depending on what people want to do.
And it's about $50 an hour to float, and the prices vary depending on how long you want to stay in there. We have a lot of info at websites mentioned at WNEP.com. Finally, I want you to meet Nathan. We were talking to some other folks this morning. Monica over here in the purple shirt, she comes here to relieve migraines, hasn't been on medication for months. But Nathan, what brings you to this place?
Well, my day job, I sit behind a computer desk all day, so I've got chronic posture issues and things. This helps a lot with that. Also, I recently started preaching, and I pretty much write my sermons in the tank.
Yeah, it's amazing. Talk to some athletes, too. They come in here and I can visualize what I'm going to do in a competition. Good stuff. Thanks to you guys. And again, we have more info, websites mentioned at WNEP.com about the art of floating along Old Berwick Road, just outside of Bloomsburg. And by the way, Mindy, I want to answer your question. I think it was you who texted me, no, you can't do couples floats. You got to go in alone, Mindy.
That
No
seems like
couples
it would be the
floats.
perfect opportunity. All right, thanks.
Guys, I got to take this shirt off. I can't breathe. It's too tight.
All right, see you later, Ryan.
His head's about to explode.